NFC North.
But
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
is a good enough judge that it's fine. We'll get to this another day.
Yeah, whatever. We'll get there. All right. Lions 12-5. Bears 11-6. Vikings and Bears 9-8.
Lions 12-5, Packers 10-7, Bears and other team Vikings both at 8-9.
Mm-hmm. Packers 11-6, Lions 11-6, Vikings 10-7, Bears 8-9.
All right.
We're starting Detroit.
Yeah, I mean,
It's the easy one.
It's just the big thing is the coordinators changing. That's like so massive for most teams to recover from. And I'm not aware or familiar with their game. I mean, Kevin Shepard was a linebackers coach last year, and John Morton was the passing games coordinator for the Denver Broncos. Were forced to throw the ball a ton because they could not run the ball to save their lives. So, I mean, yeah, the roster is still very, very good. I mean, you lose the interior definitely took a huge hit offensively. You lose Ragnar to retirement, and Zeitler goes to the Titans. And I mean, the one thing I do love is bringing DJ Reed. That was just so sick for a team that already was like firmly like in the contender conversation. And their draft was fine. I don't like Tyler Williams in the first round, but Isaac Tisla, man, he'll get playing time. He's pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, the thing is just the majority of the infrastructure is still there. It's like similar with the Eagles. Like they had some losses. They are making some personnel changes, but not enough for me to think that this team is like cooked. So 12-5, have them as 2 seed. Like I don't really see Detroit going anywhere for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement. Go ahead.
No, I was saying go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
Also, your audio is all delayed on my screen, so it's
it's fine for me. It's fine for me. Don't worry about it. It's just
no. They're gonna be significantly better defensively, I think, this year. Even without.
Forgot to mention their whole defense was dead last year. So.
Yeah, the injuries that they sustained, and just I mean, even if Aiden Hutchinson doesn't immediately have the same explosiveness that he did a season ago because of the injury that he sustained, I mean, still having him is just going to be such a boost. It kills me to lose Aaron Glenn, but I expect them to still have that brand of toughness that they had. And like you said, DJ Reed, incredible. You know, they play such a physical style of defense. They're so cover 0, cover 1. You know, lots of press and forcing you to really battle their secondary, and I expect them to be able to fulfill that to the best of their ability. I do worry about this interior of their defense. The loss of Levi Onwuzurike is I think more important than people will realize, and I think you also have to talk on the interior. The retirement of not Frank Jackson. Frank Ragnow, yeah, and what that brings you with Christian Mahogany now forced into a role as a starter.
Tate Ratledge, right dog, by the way.
Yep, and Tate Ratledge on the other side, exactly. So how do you look to develop beyond that? But this is still one of the deepest rosters in the NFL, and they've prepared for just about everything. My other worry was kind of the reports out of camp that they're talking about playing with a new style of looseness. And I think what makes this Lions offense so special and what makes me a little worried about that was the amount of structure that they had, to be honest. I think they were really able to, through being able to run the same things over and over and over so well, that inside zone, outside zone, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and, the way they were able to manipulate the play action. I give a lot of credit to Ben Johnson, his ability to do that. And I worry that if they become too, trickery heavy or motion heavy, that when they do run the trickery, with kind of these magical plays that it's not going to be as successful. But these are all nitpicky things, right? In a team that is one of the deepest rosters in the NFL, and I have faith with the man at the front of it in Dan Campbell, who I think is so underrated as a head coach because he doesn't have a set material role. He has built everything from the ground here, and I expect that to continue here. I think they're going to be a serious Super Bowl contender once again.
Let's go to the Apple of Amazon.
They're good. I agree.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I agree. They're good. Clock's ticking for Jared Goff, I think.
You think? Physically,
Yeah,
or like
if they have another terrible exit in the playoff this year where he throws multiple interceptions in the game, I think they have to start thinking other options at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. But I also don't think
Well,
that extension makes that
yeah.
gives them the ability to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they've kind of locked themselves in.
I know drafting someone doesn't. Yeah, I know, but I think at some point, like, I don't think Jared Goff, like, you see so many contenders is, Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar and all these guys, they raise your ceiling as quarterbacks. And Jared Goff is essentially the product, I truly believe, of just being around the best, like one of the best supporting casts in the league.
Yeah.
He is literally what Twitter thinks Jalen Hurts is.
Yep.
He's not great. He doesn't really excel at anything. And I think they're going to be one of those teams that has to look into trading for a veteran that, has been there, done that. I mean, Jared Goff's played in playoff games and historically has not performed well. And I think the clock's ticking on this core being together. And if you want to win, I think he's the first person you got to look at to be like, all right, kick rocks. We need someone better.
Yeah, I disagree a little bit with the saying he doesn't have a legitimate strength. I think Jared Goff is incredibly accurate if you can protect him well enough, and
that's the issue right now.
Yes, that is the issue. Is how are you going to, in this 2025 with the shuffles on the offensive line, protect him to the same ability that you've been able to? So I think it's a test in that perspective. I agree. I think, this being, maybe a year where you do take off the training wheels a tiny little bit and are forced to, I think we're going to see a different Jared Goff for sure. But I still do have confidence.
I just don't think you win the Super Bowl with somebody on the training wheels.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But, I mean, I think they have organizationally, seemingly, the faith in him to take off those training wheels this year. And we're going to find out.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to find out. I could be completely wrong, and he could show up. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I've had enough of, seeing the training wheels on. I'm ready to see if he's the guy or not. And if he's not the guy, then the Lions need to act quickly because the NFC is, in this stage where there's a bunch of young teams bubbling up and in 2 or 3 years are going to be really good. And that really good core of the Lions is going to be getting older and worse. And they're going to have to extend everybody. This is the window. You have this year and next year, I think, before extensions and trades start to impact, the same thing happens to every team that's good. I mean, we know how this works. We're all watching the Bengals the last 3 years.
Yeah. Well, the core on both lines of the football is young, and that really is, again, I mean, that's where you start to degrade. So yeah, I agree.
Not sure where the Packers.
Are we getting to it? Are we getting to the
Green Bay Packers? All right. I will say their offseason right outside of the Micah thing. Gave so much money to Aaron Banks, who's an average starter at best, and Nate Hobbs, who I think is okay, but Adam actually doesn't really like.
No.
And
should not be starting.
That's not. I mean, the second when you lose Jair and now what is he on the Raiders? Eric Stokes. Secondary is in flux a little bit, but you still got Javon Bullard and Xavier McKinney, which I think is a 6 safety go, and you get a Matthew Golden in the draft, which really I think will open up the offense in a way that they has sort of struggled with, as we said in the Micah Pod post, Devontae Adams, like been Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. I mean, Jaden Reed was the receiver one last year. So, but I think Josh Jacobs is still fantastic. I expect the tight ends to be pretty good. Kraft has it emerged sort of down the stretch. Obviously, the thing is the defense, though. Defense is sick. You add franchise-altering talent in Micah Parsons alongside Sean Gary. I still do have my questions about the interior with Devontae Wyatt, and I don't know what they're doing with Lucas Van Ness. I know he was a top, I think,
He's not great.
12 pick, but it's not like they really have much outside of that to begin with. Linebacking core, I could take or leave. I don't really care though, because they have Micah Parsons, and that is a player that sort of puts you in the contender conversation instantly. But that is obviously under the pretense that you already were a playoff team. Like with Dallas, I don't know if they're making the playoffs if you played this year. But when you're very good and ran into the Eagles in the playoffs, like that's going to happen. But the big question, the nine-figure question is a certain quarterback, which we'll get into. I think he is okay. He is capable of leading the offense to be good. I'm unsure to see if he'll be in that conversation that Michael was talking about, like among the Hurts, the Burrows, the Allen, Lamar, Mahomes tier. I don't think it has to be, fortunately. And I think that's good for the Packers, just based on how they sort of run their offense. But yeah, I think what you get to January and February, that's when that question sort of rears its ugly head. So
yeah,
I think the Packers will be a very good regular season team. I'm still not sure how far they'll go in the playoffs, but we'll see. Is this the third full year of Jordan Love quarterback?
Yeah,
I think so. And I didn't love Matthew Golden coming out, but adding him to that offense, I think really sort of brings it all together. And they'll be at least top 10 on both sides of the ball. So that's a lock-in, shoe-in playoff team for me. So
yeah. I mean, I saved really after we had that big Micah conversation. I saved two kind of big thoughts, which I think kind of define the Green Bay Packers season. You kind of touched on both of them. The first is Jordan Love, and I am happy to admit I was wrong about Jordan Love a season ago. He did not take the step who I thought he was. I do not view him to have the same ceiling that I did a year ago. However, I still think you can win multiple playoff games.
Keep talking.
I think.
Keep talking. This is great.
I think
this is the first time I've ever heard you admit you were wrong.
Yeah. It's a beautiful moment on the Broad Street Benchwarmers podcast. I think the biggest thing with Love to me is, yes, you want to be able to create explosives, but if you're not going to contribute as a runner and you're not going to throw the ball away, you have no safety net in that way. And so one of those has to occur at a higher rate this season. Jordan Love is a fine athlete. Jordan Love was fine at Utah State scrambling. The moment he has gotten to the NFL, that has almost disappeared from his game. And so that's something that I know they've put a lot of focus on the offseason. That's something I'm looking for them to look towards, because he can't be a Jared Goff. He can't be, because he simply doesn't have the consistency in his motion for him to be a Jared Goff. And so, I mean, we're going to find out a lot about him He gets what I believe, like you said, is a true separator, a true one potentially in Matthew Golden this season. And I think we're going to learn a lot about him. On the defensive side, I actually thought this defense is a bit of a candidate for regression. They contribute a lot last season in how Jeff Halfley ran this structurally. It was a lot of heavy zone. It was a lot of like disguise blitzes and, NFL teams simply being like confused and run amok. I still think Jeff Halfley is a great play caller, but I thought there was room for regression. Now, you add that truly dominant force to that defensive line that they so lack. You add the star power to that defense that can win without having to trick an offense. And so that, to me, brings them back to the level that they were before. So you talk about improvement offensively. You talk about status quo defensively. I view them right where I did a year ago. And that's why I have them winning the division. That's why I think they could be a contender in the NFC.
All right, I'm lower on the defense. I don't love. I think Xavier McKinney and Javon Bullard are fun, but the corners suck.
The corners were good
opinion.
last year, and I know you guys are down on the corners, but Carrington Valentine was really good last year. Keyshawn Nixon was really good last year. Like Isaiah McDuffie was really good.
Bo Melton got Bo Melton.
Like
if I see one more season of it, I'll be sold. But
yeah.
If I see one more season, I'll be sold.
Okay.
But I don't know how sustainable that is. The interior's bad of this D line. I mean, but like they'll naturally do the thing where they eat because Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary exists. Linebacker play is questionable because once again, your best linebacker is a rookie, is a second round pick.
Yeah. Edrin Cooper.
So yeah, that's there.
Are you talking about Edrin Cooper? Edrin Cooper was great last year.
Yes.
Edrin Cooper was a borderline all-pro linebacker last year.
But yes, it is like Quay
I think
Walker.
The ceiling can be raised.
It's pretty good. Yeah, go.
Yeah, like it could be good. Could be really good. Could not really be that much better than it was last year.
But if it's what it was last year, they were top 10 defense last year.
I know we're all talking about how good Green Bay has turned into the best team besides the Eagles.
So. No. Well, yes. But I don't
think so. I don't think they're the best team in the division.
But is that a statement on Green Bay or is that the statement on the rest of the NFC? Because if we think about it, right? We just talked about Detroit with that coordinator change and not trusting Jared Goff in the playoffs. We're going to talk all about the NFC West. There are a load of questions there. I'm pretty sure we don't even have the same teams winning the division over there. You can talk about the NFC South all you want, but I don't think that they provide the star power of either the Lions or this Packers team. I just think it's a debate of who has less questions after the Eagles.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the Packers have even the least amount of questions in this division because I still don't like the offense. I still think we're now relying on a rookie wide receiver that was my wide receiver 4 to come in and just save them with a quarterback who I still don't think is top 10.
Yeah,
he's not top 10.
Josh Jacobs is out of this world. He's awesome. The line's a bit scary. The tight end room is cool.
Okay. Line's okay.
Fine. It's okay.
Tight end room's fine.
It's okay, but when we're talking about Jordan Love, some of his athleticism.
Line can be good. I mean,
but
it needs to be better for Jordan Love's play style, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's fair.
They're fine. They'll win 10 games. They might get popped in the wild card. They could make the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
It's just one of those teams that anything could happen. But I think if it all averages out, they win 9 or 10 games. They're just not on the same tier as the Lions, the Eagles, or said 2 other division winners I have, plus the other teams in the wild card.
Yeah, I just, it comes down to your evaluation of Love. It really does. Ethan's in the middle. I'm on the higher end. You're on the lower end.
That's
That's
why we do this.
what it is. Yeah. So we'll find out.
Okay. The Vikings.
Can I go first for the Vikings?
Go ahead. How many games do you have them winning?
8.
8. Okay.
You guys said 9. Like,
I said
Yeah.
10.
Oh,
I think the defense is really good. Defense is fun.
this is perfect.
They have a lot of pieces. This is truly based on my terrible evaluation of JJ McCarthy. I think he sucks.
I forgot we were gonna do this tonight.
Yeah, we have to do
He's
it.
just bad. He's just
I was
bad.
prepared for Cam
He
Ward.
wasn't
I
good in
wasn't prepared
college.
for this one.
He sucks. I don't love Aaron Jones in 2025. The run game will be fine. Jordan Mason's a fun backup. I mean, like, the running back room isn't great. Justin Jefferson obviously is going to exist and be amazing, but like the guys you brought in to like
Jordan Addison
support
is
Justin Jefferson. I mean, like, Jordan Addison's in prison. Adam Thielen is a fine too, and then like Jalen Naylor, Ty Felton, and Rondell Moore is on
I was
IR.
gonna say legendary Naylor.
So, like, it's fine. They're fine. They exist, but dude, I just can't do the JJ McCarthy thing. I'll happily be wrong. I will happily be wrong because this team won 15 games last year. They were so
14.
fun. I love so many guys on this team, but I don't see it. I didn't see it coming out of college. I don't, especially when we talked about athleticism, blah blah blah. Like he's a play extender. He can run, and then he tore his ACL. When does that ever work for a play extender?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't work. He's not good at football.
Yeah.
I also
I mean,
don't think he's a good decision maker.
Yeah. The thing with JJ McCarthy for me is that he'll probably, just because of how Sam Darnold succeeded in that offense, be like fine. I think that's okay. I think that's sort of what you signed up for, which is like, okay. I know I agree. Out of the draft, it's like, what do you want me to do with this? Nothing to be excited about other than athleticism, which is again hampered by the ACL. But I do expect him to be in like the middle of the pack, and I think that's fine for what this offense has. The one thing I do want to
interrupt, and this needs to go on the podcast.
Yes.
I interrupt. Let's say that out of all CUSA quarterbacks this week, ESPN had Nick Mitakuchi as the highest rated quarterback.
Good.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
And Evan Simon tied the school record, 6 touchdowns against UMass. Let's go, buddy. We're back. Anyways, about the Vikings, the one takeaway from the playoff game is that their line got absolutely trounced by Jared Verse and company. And they really did a really good job at sort of ameliorating that. Big words to say AP Lang, man. They get Ryan Kelly and Will Fries from the Colts, both very quality starters. You draft Donovan Jackson in the first round. I didn't love that for like their needs, but I think he was projected as like a maybe could play on the outside of tackle. They don't really need that because they have Darisaw and Sally led and Brian O'Neill. But I think that'll really make JJ McCarthy's life a little bit easier. Obviously, the weapons are sort of to lose Jordan Addison for games. 3. I don't know. You never know with this stuff. Adding Jordan Mason sort of, I guess, evens out the running back room a little bit. It was sort of all Aaron Jones. Was Cam Akers on the team last year for a little bit?
For a little bit.
And then he went to the Texans.
Yeah.
It was weird. And then you add
All the way around. He started with us and went.
Okay, the other way around. Okay. And the interior was mid, and then you add Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. I don't think they're setting the world on fire at this point in their careers, but that was a concern for me going into the season. Secondary still definitely leaves a lot to be desired. Like you lose Gilmore and Griffin, who again were on fire at all, but they didn't do much in ways of even replacing below average starters. So that is the one thing that's sort of holding me back. Like I think the defense overall is very, very good, as we said. I do think some guys sort of had like Linsanity runs, like Andrew Van, to be honest. But that sort of all of that together is like borderline playoff. It's like how I said with the Commanders. Like that's 9-8.
Yeah.
I can see if JJ McCarthy really they put way too much responsibility in his hands, then it could crash and burn. But I think how they handled Sam Darnold last year, I can't really expect that to happen. Decently hard schedule. Brian Flores should be a head coach right now. So that is the one thing sort of keeping me thinking that, like, if you told me this team has one good wide receiver, I mean, I do like Adam Thielen, by the way. I think he'll be okay. But one truly good receiving weapon and so rookie quarter, like redshirt rookie quarterback coming off of a injury that usually hampers mobility.
Yeah,
it gives me pause. I mean, I do think that 14-win season last year is kind of unfathomable. Seeing this roster, and I don't know. I wish I was more excited about them, but it is pretty often with these teams with questionable secondaries that I like sort of that usually is the thing that sort of turns the tide for me. Like,
yeah,
I want to say, I mean, the Packers in a way, but I mean, the safety room's sick, but like the Commanders, again, the Vikings, we did the AFC, we're talking about like the Raiders. That is a thing. I do look forward to that. He's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I understand where you're arguing with the corner room. I really like Isaiah Rodgers, though. I thought he played particularly well for the Eagles when he needed to play. And I think he's an upgrade over, the ghost of Stephon Gilmore that was being dragged out last year. So I think you have that there. I do think there's room for regression with the amount of, just like you said, age that you're adding to this defensive line. But at the same time, like you said, put so much faith in Flores. Even if they're a little worse in 2025, I think he has the way to scheme them out of it. You think about the talent they had 2 years ago, which was pretty bare bones, in my opinion, and they were still a top 10-ish unit. They were just incredible last year. So maybe they're not incredible, but they're still a solid unit. So I can definitely see that. And, I mean, without harping too much on you, I think the run game is going to be significantly better this year as well. I'm not going to get into a JJ McCarthy debate, but I think he's going to have much more support around him than Sam Darnold did a year ago. And I think overall that leads to about, if not as good on offense, similar levels. And I also don't think we should pretend that this was a great offense a year ago either. They were the 16th best offense per DVOA. They were okay. And so, if they're okay again and this defense is pretty solid again, I think saying they lose 4 less games than they did a year ago is perfectly reasonable. So that's kind of where I land. I just, we talk about these infrastructure. We talk about, in a minute, we're going to talk about, Shanahan and McVay. And, we talked about Reed and Peyton earlier.
We still got to do Caleb.
We still got to do what?
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I know. We still got to do Caleb Williams. I know.
Good infrastructure, though, guys. Great infrastructure.
With that, I'll keep it short and sweet so that I can yell about the horrors that went on in Chicago last year. But I'm going to choose to have faith in that. And I have this as a playoff team. They are my 7 seed. They sneak in over the Washington Commanders. So, yeah.
All right. Timeout.
Yeah.
My bad, pissed myself.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. All right, I'm going to stop the recording, though, so that doesn't,
All right.
Manage recording. Stop recording. All right, Chicago Bears.
Bad.
Um,
Well, mid.
I wish they were good, man. That they could be. They definitely can be. You add Joe Tooney, Joe Jackson, nice. You add Drew Dahlman also to that line. It's okay. I don't really care. You have too much money to Dio Dunabo. It's fine. You add Grady Jarrett to the interior. It's fine. You didn't lose much of anything in the offseason, and then you draft Colson Loveland in the top 10. I still don't know how to feel about that, to be honest. But get Luther Burden day 2 to replace Keenan Allen. Obviously, not a ton to really say because he had a weird year. He was supposed to be like in that receiver 1 conversation and then slipped to day 2. But excited about Ben Johnson. I think the coaching situation last year was a train wreck, like straight up.
Yeah.
And I think Dennis Allen is DC. He was good there before. I do not. It is a Chip Kelly situation. Do not give him any. Just let him do his fancy little plays, and that's all I can do. That's fine. Nothing to say about their OC, but that is like
Their
a
OC is Ben Johnson.
yeah. It is like a
He is
Sirianni
useless.
situation where like it is he's there. Like technically, what's it? Todd Bowles is like the de facto DC. It's like this. It's the same deal.
Same deal. Yeah.
And I'm not out on Caleb Williams yet. I just can't be.
There's just no reason on God's green earth anybody should be out on Caleb Williams.
Yeah. And I do
think
think
it's okay to be concerned, though.
Yeah, there should be concern. Last year was like the worst possible outcome, considering what he came into, which I thought, I will admit, was like one of the better and or best situations a rookie quarterback has stumbled into.
We all had them in the playoffs.
Yeah, we all had him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't see him lighting the world on fire, but I do see them being good. I think they're probably a year-ish or 2 away from being in that playoff conversation, but I have them just outside for the time being. And also second hardest schedule in the league on the Giants. That is worth mentioning.
Yeah. I had him at 8-9. I kind of wanted him a win lower. That's kind of where I am on this team, but I settle there. And really it is, a lot of the changes on both lines of the football. I think every team was looking to construct themselves in that way. And, they've minimized the amount of questions that they have. I'm not going to sing Drew Dahlman's praises. I thought he was a little overrated last year, but he's, a lot more passable than they were dealing with, and adding Tooney is great. And like you said, it's just, fortifying the trenches. Gervon Dexter took a huge step up last year. Like, there are definitely pieces across the entirety of this roster. The fear really just comes organizationally, and it comes from, the years of instability and kind of the questions surrounding it. And, I think that stems into Williams as well. I just wrote up a whole thing, and this will be my one and probably not last plug, but top 32 quarterbacks we're writing, and it's been there. And when I was writing about Caleb Williams, my biggest thing was that, they tried to make him into someone he's not. And they simply didn't look to fix the things that were preventing him from being the player that they wanted him to be. His footwork was still incredibly sloppy. He was still very brash in the pocket. And they just kind of said, well, fuck it, play the way we want you to. And he struggled a lot because of that and because of the weaknesses of the offensive line. So if Ben Johnson's able to cater to the strengths of Caleb Williams and make him a passable quarterback and give him, a passable run game as well that fits with it, I mean, I'm not willing to say DeAndre Swift automatically is like one of the worst running backs in football, like he was a year ago, just because of the ecosystem around him. So I believe there's potential for hope possibly, but it's so hard to look at that logo really and say that. So I'm settling at 8-9. I really wish it said 7-10 on that paper because that's kind of how I feel, but I think this makes sense.
Yeah, I said 8-9 too. Also because of the logo and the team name. Actually, like the biggest reason why. I mean, I think Caleb makes a jump. I think DeAndre Swift bounces back. I think replacing Keenan Allen with Luther Burden is awesome. I mean, the line got better. Obviously, we touch on Joe Tooney. I mean, Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet is going to be one of the better tight end duos in like all of football. The defense should just automatically get better now that's not coached by Matt Eberflus. And I love Dennis Allen as a coordinator. I love Ben Johnson as a coach. And I'm kind of actively talking myself into giving them 10 wins, but I'm not going to because I said 8-9. This roster actually looks really good on paper. Now that I take a deep dive into it, I'm just worried because it's just the Chicago Bears.
Yeah,
it would shock me if they.
That's a perfectly fine argument.
Yeah,
they could win.
Bears.
They could win 11 games.
Yeah,
they could win 4.
I'm not willing to go to that ceiling, man. I like the talent on paper, but even some of the talent struggled last year.
Exactly.
I think we're all assuming DJ Moore is a wide receiver 1. DJ Moore was bad last year, guys. DJ Moore was not anything like himself, and I know we've seen him do it before, but still, Braxton Jones is still a hole at left tackle. I know he's there. And he's a body, but he's really been a weak point for them in the past. And I mean, this secondary opposite Jalen Johnson, I think it's fair to have concerns. Kyler Gordon wasn't quite the same last year. Tyreek Stevenson is bad, and Kevin Byard is 34 years old. So I don't think we can look at this like it's a playoff team necessarily on paper either, even if we're looking at it outside of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. They just have to show me it one time for me to be in. But they haven't. So that's why. I have them at 9-8. Realistically, it should be 8-9. But there's, as Michael said, there's so much good, on paper. Totally possible that they flame out and they make big changes. Just kidding. They're the Bears. They won't do that. They would never. But,
they kind of did.
Yeah. I mean, yes, they did, but I don't think they can do it 2 years in a row.
Splashed that head coach.
Yeah, and I think you guys have more faith in Caleb Williams maybe than I do. I don't know. I mean, I think he's fine. I think there's the potential to be fine, but I think there are some really worrisome traits that he showed last year, and I really hope that's when you have a rookie quarterback go into these situations, right, and that's their initial first year, that's the worry, is that you go into their sophomore year and they're essentially at the same point that they were a year ago, and it's hard to reverse things after you're already in the NFL. It's harder than it is as you got out of college. We've seen that with a lot of guys, seen it with Fields. It's the same exact thing. So, that is the worry. I think he's a lot more talented than Fields was, but we'll find out.